All right, so my name is Liam.
My name is Chanel.
My name is Sixten.
And we're going to present a cave restaurant and the water sports center in Xlendi. To start to clue you guys in, our team, as you can see there, was tourism in Xlendi, all right? So we can start.
Okay, you're about to see a clip from the. You're about to see a clip from the film Mad Max Fury Road, which we felt did a very good job of representing the issue which we're trying to solve. But before I started, I should probably just give you a brief rundown of the plot so you're aware of what's going on. So basically, there's this woman named Furiosa. She's the bold woman played by Charlize Theron, who's trying to transport all of these other women, who are the ones clad in white dresses, from the tyranny of a man named Immortan Joe, who's not shown in this clip. So they're trying to transport them to a place which Furiosa calls the Green Place, which is the place where she grew up and which she remembers as being, well, it's a very green place compared to the desolate wasteland that the rest of the Mad Max universe is. So yeah, let's just get started.
I can't wait to see that. See? Say what? Home. The Green Place. Only you came from the West. In Boston. Cruise. The creative place where the clothes. The sword. We had a water skills. It was spicy. It was sound. The cruise cave. We couldn't go anything.
So, as you can see, it was revealed that the Green Place doesn't actually exist, and Furiosa was thus very disappointed, naturally, which we find is comically similar to the situation in Xlendi, where we have all of these people trying to escape from the stress of daily city life. So they might want to go to somewhere like Xlendi, where they can get these picturesque views and this beautiful sea. But then in reality, it's the epitome of the stress of city life which they were trying to escape. So with our solution, the Water Sports Center and Cave Restaurant, we can turn Xlendi into the green place that all of the Maltese people, Gosaitans and tourists and Furiosa were looking for.
Okay, so regarding the project, I'm just going to start off with a simple example. So when you think tourism, the first thing that comes to my mind is a situation like this, where you have overcrowded beaches. This one specifically is in Comino. And when it comes to such a situation, this is what we basically wanted to avoid. Since our theme was sustainability, this is the peak of unsustainable tourism. So we just decided to try and make something that's unique, not only unique to the country, but possibly something that's you won't really find somewhere else in the world. So I will show another image. Now, this is Xlendi. I'm going to be honest, I don't know who remembers Xlendi like this, dude. Raise hands. Because this really shocked me, I never saw such a picture. I didn't have there, so that's why I asked. But basically, this is what Xlendi was, a fishing village. And there wasn't really much. People would just go there for the tranquility. So what we wanted to do is, at least from the hustle and bustle of Xlendi, there's a little piece on the side. And that's a place where, yes, you can finally enjoy such tranquility and peace. And you can actually enjoy the nature and not hear any cars.
Our inspiration. So, we wanted to look at things that you find naturally around or on the island. We started off by looking at limestone, which gets eroded due to rainfall. We saw that natural look of it looks like holes, small caves from a distance. Then we also wanted to play with the hermit crab shape. As you can see, there is a small entrance leading to an area which cannot be seen or is unexplored, which contains a beauty which no one really focuses on or sees. The process. Originally, we were going to go with a building for a restaurant in Maltese-style architecture. But as we were thinking about it and putting more thought into our project, we decided against that because we thought it would overshadow the tower. We wanted to maintain the heritage, the cultural heritage of the tower, and not shadow it by building something new next to it. So instead, we started experimenting with many different concepts and landed finally on a cave. As you can see, the cave is still very spacious, but it cannot be seen next to the tower, so it does not shadow it, or it can't destroy the view, and it is barely noticeable. Thirdly, by building it underground, you are not destroying the natural Greek habitat, which is over there in Xlendi.
The location. So, since we wanted to avoid the stress of the city life, we naturally wanted to put our cave as far from the city as possible, which is why we wanted to go with this general area. We decided to put the cave entrance here because we don't want to place any focus on it. We want to place the focus on the Xlendi Tower so that we still can preserve the history of Xlendi and not damage the cultural integrity of the spot.
For the plants, we wanted to stick with it being very small, and this is a 1:100 scale on the plants. As you can see, it is very small. We also wanted it to appear like a cave, so we wanted to have a main support structure in the middle, which will be a support pillar naturally dug in. This is a section of the cave showing the pillar and emphasizing how it looks very natural and it is not just cut out as a garage would be. This also highlights the tower. Now, where would we store the sailing and boating equipment? That is where the tower comes in. The tower has been recently restored, but the bottom floor of the tower is not being used because the top floor is being used for reenactments and for cultural reasons. However, the bottom isn't being used, so it can serve as a storage for the boat and equipment during the winter months. This is the Xlendi Tower. As you can see, it's very spacious, so it can easily hold many things in the bottom floor. And this is the floor plan of the Xlendi Tower.
Right, so when it comes to logistics, you heard me, the first thing I mentioned was sustainability. So how exactly do we do that? We're just going for rather simple things when it comes to these goals. So first thing we took the collective decision to do was to only use locally caught fish, especially maybe those caught in Xlendi. This could help support the local tradesmen in the area and possibly give boost to the fishing industry in Malta, which took quite a toll since COVID. Of course, making a cave comes with its issues, especially the excavation works and the waste that comes with it. So we try our best. We made some research, and most of the stone can be reused, but it comes at a cost, which we will mention later. Additionally, we took the decision to only use non-motorized vehicles, so no gas, no noise. Now, why did we do this? The market, when it comes to things like jet skis, etc., it's quite saturated. But when you say, I don't know, I want to go sailing, for example, you don't really get that much in Malta. You can't really find it, especially in Goza. Now, we were regarding the question, who's this for? Because we were asking if we're going to make a project of such difficulty, we'd need to make sure that there is the base for it, the customer base. So realistically, anyone can make use of such a site. There's a restaurant, so anyone can really go eat there, and especially it can serve as a hub for water sports enthusiasts, where any training can take place, and this could even perhaps boost multi-sport, especially water sport, and they can be even used, for example, a local water polo pitch.
So, as for the cost, there are two very important things to take note of. Obviously, everything here is an estimate. And second of all, most of the costs stem exclusively from the fact that we're doing a cave rather than a building. Originally, as you saw in the concept art we had previously, we originally intended to do a building, but we decided against this as it would be too eye-grabbing and therefore wouldn't solve the issue. But as for the cost specifically, we would obviously need to do geological studies prior to the actual excavation, then we would need to do the excavation itself, and then we would need to reuse the waste, dump it somewhere, or maybe even sell it. So then we would obviously need to do fix electricity, water wiring, fix light. We would also need to buy the water sports equipment to use in the sea, obviously. And the total cost would then be 170,000 euros.
Running such a project would come with its own revenue expenditure. So you'd have a lot of maintenance work when it comes to conducting such an operation, especially when it comes to taking care of the cave, because obviously you could have water damage, etc. So it's very important to make sure that it's well taken care of. And this is why we took extra steps, especially something which we thought of is setting aside a couple thousand euros for repairs, if need be. So that way, any shocks would be taken care of, and we wouldn't really have to have many issues when it comes to financing. Additionally, there's the utility issues, and since the tower is currently under government ownership, we assume that there would be a price to pay. Now, honestly, we had to just make up a number. It's quite difficult to know how much such a thing would cost. So, but realistically for us, it's a price that it's worth to pay. So that way we can keep up the tradition alive. So that leaves us with a running cost of 19,000 a year, give or take. And then you have the 5,000 every 5 years for maintenance work.
Now we're going to move on to revenue. Our main sources of revenue aren't going to be from running the restaurant ourselves, as we will be renting it out to a third party. We have come up with estimates for renting the restaurant itself around 40,000 euros per year. For the sports equipment, we came up with an estimate of around 20,000 per year. And finally, for the use of the tower in the storage area, we came up with around 10,000 euros. That comes up to a sum of 70,000 euros per year in profits. Now, for the payback, it would take us around 4 years to pay it back, including if anything goes wrong or if any extra maintenance needs to occur. Now, before we move on to the final model, I would like to leave you with a small sentiment that if tourism can work, only if it is done right. Now, I invite the panelists to come forward to the model so we can explain it, as we cannot lift it up because it is multiple pieces.
As you guys can see here, it's a relatively small model. It's 1 to 100 scale. This is the peninsula that we showed you in Xlendi, and then you have the boats. This represents the sea, basically, and then here. So as we said, with the entry would relatively concealed. This is the doorway to the cave, and we have a bird's eye view of the cave under it, and that would be the dome of the cave. So as you can see, it's not much. It's smaller than the tower because our aim is not to take away attention from the tower, but rather to help complement it with such homes.
And for scale, you can use these clay figures, which are 6 feet people.
As it is.
Sorry. Closer.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry.